All right. Good afternoon. Today is March 12th, 2005. This is the Lunenburg Water District Commissioners meeting. Let us start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Right. I will float some minutes your way, gentlemen.
We got any pens or
We
anything?
got nothing.
There we go. Look at that. There's the pen box.
Oh, whoo! Glasses.
Glasses,
Oh,
pens,
God.
little clips, everything.
Like
Boy.
one you can unwrap and eat again.
I'll grab one of those over there. Sorry, John.
Go ahead.
Get some sort of like a pen or pencil.
Only thing that kind of stands out is this one, cause it's 2 months worth, that's all. Yeah, and that one, cause it's.
So that meter at Corbin, the homeowner knows,
No, he said they went home, I just
did they
called,
cut the water off?
they did, yeah, but Terry took a video of it, just in case,
Hey, when's
29, March, in three weeks,
I'll be here.
okay.
Speaking
Well, yeah, you better, cause you're up.
Ah, details. Fortunately, it never falls on Gardner. That's all. No,
Yeah,
it just-
it's always the last Saturday in March.
Beautiful weather we're having.
Oh,
Jordan's feet.
I need follow-up on that butterfly line.
A phone conversation. I did send an email. Phone conversation. So we did send the meter to Ty Sales.
Yep.
I was hoping to have that report today. I talked to him and he said unfortunately he didn't. So hopefully by next meeting I'll have that report. She did speak with me for a little bit and said that she would like to have the test done independently, not someone that we hired. And I said, that's fine. When I get it back, I'll let you know. She did say that she is looking into legal counsel. So I said, okay, just please respond to my email and let me know what you decide, so that we can move forward. I haven't heard anything since then.
Is that the woman with the meat problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have brought that up later, but-
No, that's
No,
fine.
that was-
Mayor, I'd make a motion that we accept the minutes of February 22nd, 2025.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. All right, wonderful. Commissioner, Superintendent Clerk, Treasurer additions.
Okay, two things, one I got, a proposal from Tower Engineering Professionals to put that, thing on top of the water tank to mount antennas and, cellular equipment. The quote came in at $10,500, so it's pretty expensive. I think it's something we probably should do. Can't vote on it because it wasn't on the agenda, but if you guys are up for it, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting and.
Now, we're doing that for somebody who wants to get on the tower, or?
It's, for- well,
the tank, I
we
mean.
can add more people.
Right.
If we put that on. And
I think
then
it basically makes it easier for any carrier just to click, like, you know, it's like a rack, you might say, for these guys just to mount their stuff on, and then when they leave, they can take it off. there's,
do we-
there's not like, sometimes we worry about welding the tank and all that, like this thing is here.
Yep.
And
And
We
it
can-
bolts right to the center column, so it's just gonna bolt on. There's an actual man door that you can walk out onto the tank with.
Have we had anybody that's interested in getting on that tank?
I spoke to AT&T and they're reviewing it. Most of my speaking with AT&T was because we're trying to do that corral on the Chase Road tank, so I was trying to finagle with them if I could get them to put it up. And I see maybe we can make a deal and had them looking at the Sunny Hill tank, so we'll see if something comes of it. But there's only Verizon on the Sunny Hill tank, so it's a good spot for someone. So if we did a proposal for that, maybe, but I think this is a good thing no matter what. It gives us the opportunity to do it.
So do we move the current carrier onto this, or how many carriers can go on this structure?
That would be part of their engineering. They would decide, the strength, how high you could go. They'll figure all that out.
But will this take any equipment we have currently on the tank off and put on this structure?
That would be my goal. If we build the thing for 2 carriers, because the cellular people, they're upgrading all the time. And if we say, okay, your next upgrade, you need to move your stuff to that location, they're gonna gain 20 feet in elevation, so I'm sure they'll be all for it. And then even our antennas can all move up to a higher speed.
So we go into our antennas plus 2 carriers? Or our antennas, our antennas, like this will be 4 our antennas for a carrier. Are we adding room for another carrier?
The goal is two cellular carriers and our antennas on the
Okay.
very top.
So we're gonna spend 10 grand to put a thing on the top,
10 grand just to design it.
huh?
10 grand is just to design it.
Okay,
What do we take in from Verizon currently on an annual basis?
About
It's-
50,000 a year.
It's Verizon, I think, is just over 3 a month.
3,000, so 40,000.
But yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, we use the cellular to generate money to maintain the tanks. If this makes it easier to maintain the tanks and less intrusive having the cellular on the tanks, then we're generating money and we're just gonna use those revenues to make it a better,
Better. Yep,
For us.
everybody. Yep.
yeah.
and this eliminates the need for them to have to take their equipment off
When we
have to paint
maintain
it,
it,
right?
right.
Correct.
This goes around it, so.
Correct.
all
It's
right,
all-
let me
it's all-
finish what I was gonna say.
Okay,
We're
sorry.
gonna spend at least $15,000 to put this thing up there, whatever it's gonna be.
Yep.
And we're gonna take the antennas that are already on the tank and put it on this thing that we're gonna put up there. So if we get any more antennas, we gotta put them back on the tank. Or is this thing gonna take extra antennas?
It'll take two carriers,
How
so-
many's up there now?
just one.
One.
All right, so we can only we're gonna spend
We can add
15
one
grand to
more.
put one more carrier up there.
Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna spend 10 grand just
Just
to
engineer.
just engineer.
Well, I'm guessing
If
another
it's 10
5.
grand in engineering, I can't imagine what it costs to.
It's gonna
Well,
be.
It's
the
gonna-
engineering is always 3 times more than it's supposed to. We all know that.
Nah, I think this might be a little pricey to put up. Just
I'm gonna get 75 just to put that.
How much?
75,000.
I'm not. If we could put 5 more antennas on it, maybe. But unless they want to drop their engineering way down.
Can we make if we do the engineering, can we make it a requirement of somebody to stay on the tower that they have to put forth something into this structure?
Well, yes, that's typically how I try to get finagle this stuff. Is let's say we go out, we engineer the thing, okay? AT&T says, hey, well, I want to go there. All right, you need to build this, and we make that part.
Right.
look,
Okay.
personally, I think even if we spent the money out of our own pocket, I view this as something like it's advertising, like, hey, to all these carriers, we have this spot for you that is ready to go, that eliminates all the other problems of taking stuff on and off, and like you put your stuff up there, it's I believe it's a
Yeah.
sales pitch, and these things generate us money. Sure, I'd like to work that into some sort of lease, but I think it's a good idea.
If we could get a 15 or 20 year lease out of them,
What do the leases typically run?
3 years.
20.
Yeah,
Are they really?
Yeah.
So they do multi-year, and where they're renewing, we can maybe try to work some of this the build part of it into it. If we're ready to go, then it gives us a better negotiating tool.
Well, if we could get a company, two of them up there for 20 years at 50,000 a year, I would say that would be a good deal. But to go up there and spend 75,000 and have one carrier on it and maybe another one coming.
So do you want, we can just hold this and
Yeah.
wait and see if carrier comes on, and
Yeah.
then we say, okay, then we gotta do, we can do that.
What's the timeline for engineering for this? Like if you had somebody, if AT&T came back and said, yeah, we're thinking of going on there,
This tank is fairly new, so all the records are there for how thick the metals are
Oh,
for the
okay.
pump that was made. Chase Road was more difficult because we couldn't get the tank
Yeah.
information, the detail.
Yeah.
Didn't we just, was this the tank that we just put an RFP out for and got nothing back?
That was Chase Road.
Okay,
That's a better site.
yeah.
That's probably a more desirable site.
So, what, you wanna just hold off and wait till we find a
When,
carrier?
when are we renewing with Verizon?
I think we had 2 more years. I had already spoke to them, they wanted to do it, and when I talked to the attorneys, like, oh, it's too early, and we wanna wait.
I mean, it's 2 years, how long does this price hold?
I'm sure it'll go up in a couple of years, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be, nothing.
I think it's something that-
Crazy.
When we start negotiating, we can, I think before we're up, if we start talking to them and saying, this is what we're thinking of doing, because we are talking about possibly maintaining that tank shortly, according to, I mean, that tank's gonna be due for a paint job.
The inside is doing pretty good. I mean,
What about the outside?
They usually say the last inspection was, just, overcoat, like a primer, not a primer, a, seal coat.
And when they do a seal coat
Clear coat.
on the outside, do they have to remove the solar equipment to do so?
They'll probably have it turned off, because they won't want to
Yeah.
stand up.
I just didn't know
He's
if we can,
standing next to
if we can match this up with some other type of project, then it makes it more
Well,
palatable.
Cause I spoke to AT&T not long ago, they were talking to the engineering people, so why don't we just put on hold, see what AT&T says, if they wanna go up there we go. You know, and they even talked about the Chase Road tank, and, I said, is this something I could get you guys to put up? And they said if you would consider waiving the monthly rental fees for a certain period of time, then they would be interested, I'm like, so would I. That's a good
Yeah.
idea, so.
Yeah.
And
So,
anyway, I got a quote on that one. That one's a little extreme. That was 68,000 for that one.
for
So,
engineering.
No,
Oh.
to build it.
Oh,
Yeah, that one's already engineered.
yeah.
So that one to build. So that one kind of scared me a little bit. So that one I'm gonna wait until we have the tank inspected. We'll see how the interior is going, and if it's a case of where we need to do the maintenance, inside, outside, that's when we put the corral.
Now that's installed and everything, designed and installed.
The corral's just, installed. It's already designed. We already did that.
it's already designed for Chase Road. This would be for the.
How tall
design
is it? Just kinda curious.
Chase Road 87.5.
No, this,
Oh,
this thing,
he would go by how many carries are, so probably 20 feet.
yeah, I mean, it's, you don't just throw it up there.
Oh yeah, it's big and heavy. It's got a
Yeah.
door in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So. All right, we'll put that on hold. Okay, so the only other thing I got is, we were trying to put those replacement wells in behind well number 2, and Mass DP wasn't giving us the water that we wanted to get out of it. They were cutting us like in half, and it was like 140 gallons a minute, so it's not even worth really doing much to it for that amount. I guess there was a whole big DEP discussion over this thing, and they increased the pump rate to 291 gallons a minute for the maximum pump rate. So that's not a bad flow rate, but the bad part is when we did the pump test, it took like a month later and it still never recovered. So it's back to what I always say about, you got your little aquifer, but how many straws can you put in it? So, and this was when we ran that pump test, none of the wells in Lancaster ever running. Everything was off. The whole system was run off peak heatings. So it's just something to make you aware of that we do have a new source. It's approved, it's permitted. And also I just wanna make note that this was our own land. And it took us like 10 years to get this thing approved.
Jeez.
So there's all land.
We
we have
already
to
owned
buy
it,
you
already,
know,
yeah.
We could
Right.
go in there, test it whenever we wanted to, and it took many
Well,
years.
you talk about 291 gallons a minute, that's what it'll pump, but how long would it, that's what they would permit it for. How long could it realistically sustain that, is what you're saying, that it might not, it's not gonna recover.
Right. That's the problem with all those wells in that area.
Yeah.
They all can pump good significant amount
You
of
pump
water.
it down to here, and
And
then it recovers. But then you pump it down, and it doesn't recover as much, and then your recovery keeps dropping.
And you guys are welcome, and I've showed residents on the SCADA.
Yeah.
I've showed people, like, I see the concern here. You can see when you run the well, let's say, I'm gonna make up numbers, let's say the water table's at 20 feet. You ran the well for 12 hours, the water table dropped when it was running down to, say, 5 feet.
Yep.
And then it shuts off, and it sat for 12 hours. It did not come back to the 20, it came back to 18. Then you run it again, it came back
So
to 18,
you're
came
constantly
back to
reducing
16.
what your output
So-
is.
So when the old days, when we ran those wells consistently, we were hurting. I mean, we were down to the point where I could run wells 1 and 4 for 4 hours. That was it. So it was getting tough. So anyways, that was my point. That, you know, we got a permit for a new well. You know, we do our new treatment plants. I'm sure we can do something with that. But you know, just so people know, it's gonna be nice, but it's not gonna solve our problem. So.
And what do you mean a new well?
Well, we can upgrade, the number 2 is not running right now?
You mean an
Not
upgrade
run-
or a new well?
In the same
New
area.
New well.
A new well in Lancaster Ave. That's-
Yeah, so,
In that
so
field.
well number 2 is number 2.
Well, I
This
mean,
new
that's
well
what
number
I,
9.
that's what I assumed, but when you said a new well, I mean, I don't know if you had another spot somewhere you were thinking about, or what's going on?
Behind well number 2.
Okay.
It's a
Alright.
well field, it's 3 small wells that have a slower production.
So you're gonna still have the same cup, John, and they're just gonna put a bigger straw in it.
That's all, we'll suck it down
And it's
faster.
just gonna, exactly. So, along with that conversation, I was thinking that what I'm seeing a lot in the news is we are in severe drought,
Critical drought.
critical drought. And we haven't even started the spring yet. So, have you heard anything from DEP, or what is your anticipation of restrictions?
There'll be no outside watering. I think hand watering by hand only, for like 1 day a week. It's gonna be very restrictive.
That's good, I like
We'll-
that.
But we'll see it coming, we did get some decent amount of snow, they have like monthly, meetings with all the organizations, all the river shed people and Mass DEP, and they all get together and they come up with a plan, and they might pick regions that have.
Mark, you
more.
did ask too about those fines, and we did implement those in the rules and regs.
We did, yeah, and then where is DEP gonna be if we're still pumping the same amount of water and not enforcing restrictions? Are they gonna come down on us?
We will have to enforce.
Okay.
Yes. That's usually part of when we do the restriction, when this thing comes out, and, when it hits the April where we need to do something, I actually need to fill out a form, and in there says who's gonna enforce it, how are we going to enforce it? And,
What's the penalty gonna be? Do you know?
We have that now.
We did it
We
in our
set
rules
that
and
up.
regs, yeah, I
Last
should have
year we
grabbed
kinda-
it. It was like, you know, first one was the warning,
Yeah. all right.
second was 100, third was 100, I forget what it is, but I just,
I
I
think
was-
it needs to go up.
thinking about
We
that.
just did it last year.
Yeah, I remember now.
Thinking
Hey,
about
we
that
have- we have all
for
that.
April,
Good.
putting a post
okay,
together
John.
once, maybe come April when we find out from
Yeah, we'll see.
DEP, we'll see where we're at, and maybe we'll draft a post, a letter to send out to everybody, something.
yeah, I would say a post and maybe a postcard. just
Yeah,
to have
well, we
everybody
have
say
that-
Critical drought, you know.
This is
mandatory
what
And
it's-
restrictions.
who's responsible at that point? The water taker? So, you know, no secret, I do sprinkler systems, so when I go turn somebody's system on, who's do I have any liability to that, or is it pretty much the water taker that
I
has
believe
to?
it's the taker, they are responsible.
It's the water taker.
Yep.
Just like what we had last week.
Yeah.
His last meeting.
Yep.
It's
No, I just wanna
ultimate
make that-
responsibility.
Wanna
for-
make that clear, I don't want anybody saying,
Ah.
well, my irrigation
Hey,
guy
I
said it
just-
was okay.
Yeah.
So,
I see where you're going there.
that's all.
So on meters, We actually just had the call today, she just told me about it, guy with a huge water bill.
Mm.
And, the guys just went and logged it, and, he had an outside faucet running since December.
Hose.
Oh.
It must have been under the snow or ice, Terry said, because it was kind of like hidden. And he took a picture of it. Since December, we'd cataloged it.
And he
900
didn't see that water running on top of the ground eventually.
Well, underneath the snow,
like
I
kinda-
mean, I
yeah,
get it.
900 gallons a day. No, cubic feet a day. So,
So,
yeah, got a message into that person.
so stuff can happen.
Oh, yes, yep.
But it is getting nice, and that is something that we should let residents be aware of, that a lot of these new radios, we can data log down to the hour. You turn your sprinkler on at 2 a.m. thinking nobody knows, I can see that on my report. So,
Don't put one of those on my.
Hopefully we get a bunch of water and there's
Yeah,
more
get-
water around and people are running the faucet nonstop and we have a
Yeah.
good revenue year. You know?
yeah,
But, well, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, because if we're using less water,
We're
we're generating less revenue.
Right.
Yep.
It's going to affect our budget.
Absolutely.
So we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Because we know how budgets are going around, and
What's the DEP gonna do about people pumping water out of
lakes
lakes,
or,
rivers,
or
brooks?
stagnant sources. I
Well,
don't know.
actually, our new permit, which we just received, I need to send a letter to the town to request them that, private wells also follow the water restrictions. So when there's a water restriction that, like for us, that you can only water 1 day a week, that should also apply to the
Private wells.
private
Yeah.
wells.
And
Not
how
that
they
we-
how do they
nothing we can
enforce?
enforce, I just have to ask them to do it.
And then if they decide to enforce it, it probably have to be like a town bylaw or
That would
something,
be a Board of Health.
or Board of Health. Board of Health
Board of
would
Health
do
is
it.
in charge of them.
So
Oh, I
they
guess.
would have to. Why the town then if the Board of Health is in charge?
Because the Board of Health would be in charge of your well. Like if you put a new well in your house, they need to test it and blah, blah, blah. That's their.
But if you're overusing it, so then why would the town need to be involved? If it falls under the Board of Health, why wouldn't the Board of Health just
Well, Board
regulate
of Health's
it?
part of town, so I would,
Oh,
so
okay.
I would send the actual letter requesting this to
The
the
Board of-
town, the town manager and the Board of Health as, you know, for both.
But no, you're right. That's his kind of like because that's Neshoba Valley Board of Health, not
Right.
You know.
Right.
I don't know. That's outside of our responsibility.
Yes. Nope.
That's for sure.
You do whatever you gotta do. Whatever it says
Yeah, I
you
gotta do
do.
that, and also part of that permit was we need to, send out, requests for information on who has irrigation systems. They want us to know everybody that has one. So I don't know
So
if we could put it part of our billing program,
Okay.
irrigation.
Really?
Everything's getting so difficult. You know,
yeah, there's new
before it was-
legislation to regulate. I don't know if it's gonna come through yet. It's just in the beginning stages to make irrigation contractors certified. And I think part of it is probably going to go on having system audits done so that people aren't wasting water. And it goes along with, part of the same thing is soil, new construction soil requirements and testing. So when you put in a new development, they're gonna require probably soil testing and depth, because soil depth and quality has a direct reflect on how much water you use.
Yeah.
So they're gonna use it as a water conservation thing. Still in its infancy, there's no laws yet, but there is legislation out there for it. So,
Green grass is a huge thing. I mean, it's changed, in the last 10 years, it's really changed on the
Yeah.
amount of demand for the summer period.
I'm glad I'm not just starting being a landscaper, I'm glad I'm getting close to the end,
Jeez.
cause the regulations are gonna come down pretty hard.
Seems like for everything. Everything you do, there's red tape.
Well, it's never, so as far as from an irrigation standpoint, the state, you know, you have all sorts of licensings for plumbers, almost everything in
Sure,
any
yeah.
kind of a trade has some sort of a license and or some sort of check and balance for making sure that the work that was done properly, and it's coming.
Yeah, it's to make you pay to take classes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every 2 years.
continuing it stuff.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
scam of big money.
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Well, you do have the people out there that aren't doing it right, and you have the people that are out there trying to do the best job for what people are paying, so. The only tag I have is a compliment with all the financial stuff going on in town. I wanted to compliment the clerk treasurer and the superintendent for putting together our budget on an annual basis, presenting it to us, making recommendations to us, and making it easy for us to work as a board, to easily accept, modify, and do our budget on an annual basis.
I second that.
So I just wanted to say that I with seeing everything that's out there, I wanted to compliment them. It's in my tenure here, it has been a fairly smooth process on an annual basis, and that's to commend them for doing their jobs.
I,
So
you brought up a thing, we have Zooms, I have another Zoom tomorrow, it's called Waterworth. And that, I'm not usually into spending money on people doing stuff for us, like monitoring water rates and stuff. But this one's pretty good. You put in your debt service, your revenue, and then you put in your water rates, and it's all graphs. And you can see, like, you got a bond, you got a project, PFAS treatment plant coming in. You can see this line, you can see your revenue, you can see that this isn't gonna make it. So what are we gonna do? So then you can plug in different water rates. And say, hey, we wanna increase it 7% these years. So you can see your revenues increased, and then you try to cover that line. So it looked like something that, to me, I could throw a computer in front of you, and you guys could say, hey, I don't like this, and it wouldn't be anything from me or us or anybody.
Right.
It would be all just facts, information in there, and you could see the stuff. Like the one they showed me, I can't remember which town it was, they had a project coming out, it was a $3 million project. And they didn't like how the rates were gonna have to increase to cover that project. So they moved that project, but they said, okay, let's move that project out 3 more years. They did, and then they did the inflation costs. So that $3 million project now was 4.2. So you could see it though, because it had, all the factors are in there. What's it today, and what's it gonna be in 3, 5, 10, whatever you decide to do that thing. Then you could see what's going to happen by graphs and your rates. And it was, to me, I'm like, this is pretty good, because if you delay, like we delayed the project Mass Ave, and
Yeah.
look what the cost is.
Yep.
yeah.
And then, the treatment plant for Hickory and Lancaster Ave, we delayed that, a couple of years. Well, that's gonna cost you, and what it is, but, so this thing was nice, it would show you. And,
That's a
No, that's
is
a,
it something we'd have to purchase or?
It's a yearly subscription.
Yeah.
So the price she gave wasn't a definite number, but it was, I think, 5,000 to 7,000 a year. So it's pretty expensive.
But we can, I mean, I think for what we are looking at in our future, I think it's a really good tool
Well, it
to
could-
do exactly what you said. Doesn't mean we have to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean we have to sign up for tomorrow until we start to realize, but if it's, I think it would be a great tool to show.
I think, like we talked about earlier, that there's going to be things that are going to be coming up that we need to forecast costs and exactly.
And I think it's gonna make it not only, like you said, easier for you guys to see, but our residents
Right,
to
for the
see.
public
So
to
that if
see.
you had that project, say Mass Ave, here's 3 million, and we knew we were doing that next year, or 5 years down the road, whatever it is, if you took that and said, all right, let's raise the rates by 2% each year. Not, here we are, okay, we have this project,
Right.
raise the rates, so I think this will be a beneficial thing for the residents to be able to see.
I have a Zoom tomorrow, just learning about it, so see how it goes. It's usually just me, but they asked for her to be tied.
Well, it's
to it.
funny
She's
because
the
he
treasurer.
says, you gotta join, you gotta see what this is, and I said, normally he's the one that's like,
I don't like spending money.
no,
Yeah.
no way, and he said, no, well, yeah, let's
It's
see
good-
what we
it's
can
good to
find,
know
so,
and see what it does, and then
yeah.
So
we can
but
put value to it.
Yeah.
Once we do this next Zoom, we'll see what we feel about it.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if they would do a presentation here, or if it'd be a case where we just throw a computer on the table and you could, follow them and
Yeah.
can do a Zoom with it, and
Yep.
you could do it, whatever. But I mean, nothing final, but I just kinda liked it, so we'll see what you guys think.
Well, we've got a lot of potential big expenses coming up, so
Gotta
No, it'd be nice, it'd
we
be
may
nice,
need
cause then,
some help with,
I mean, you've done a great job mathematically in helping us try to determine what they could do to rates.
Yeah.
And if we had something, another
Tool.
tool
Yeah.
that would formulate that, so.
Yep.
Well, that's good. I got nothing else.
No, I definitely just would like to tap on Mark's comment on the finances, because you're spot on 100%, even since I've been here. It's always been, Mark Mueller, I think, does a great job. It's very black and white numbers, and you're right. I think everybody here does a good job of balancing what we have and keeping people employed and keeping the system upgraded as much as we can. I think we do a lot with a little, and I think I think we're doing good. It's good to be part of it.
Hopefully it will be.
That's why you're rerunning.
Yeah, that's not why you're running again.
Bless you, John.
Any word
Thank you.
on moderator? Anybody gonna run?
No papers were submitted to the town.
It's a tough job.
So we still have our current moderator for this meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
But we have a year, we gotta find, or before we have
Or
another meeting.
someone, maybe someone
Maybe
writes
somebody
in.
will write them in. Someone in.
We
If,
can do a write-in for this one if
Yep.
someone's up for it. So if anybody out there wants to run, let us know and
yep, so Saturday, March 29th, 8 to 10 is voting. 10 o'clock is the meeting.
Did anybody wind up going to the caucus, or should I be talking about that?
No, I heard scuttle about it, but that's
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, that's different avenue.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about the good water department.
Yes.
That's what we have.
Well,
for.
I just didn't want a whole story about it. I just want to know if anybody
Well,
went.
we can now that we can discuss
Yeah,
after.
yeah,
No
that has
problem.
nothing to do with water, we can
Right.
talk about that after. So,
John, you're up.
I'm up for what?
you got anything?
Nothing. I make a motion, we adjourn.
No, no.
Whoa, easy, easy.
Well, everybody said
Are
we're
we-
not.
Check
no,
the
no.
clerk-
Okay.
Clerk treasurer.
Oh.
Do we,
Okay.
Are we good? Or we do?
Oh,
we
the
need to
commissioner
go
report?
over.
Do
You
we have
guys
to-
typed up this. Are we
Yeah.
good with
Do we have to-
anybody?
Do we have to vote on it?
No.
Oh,
No, it's
oh,
just
I
a
reviewed
report.
it, I thought it was.
No.
Very
no,
spot
no,
on.
If you
no.
want, okay, if you want to make changes, just send me the changes. I got to put the books together probably next week.
Oh,
No.
no, I think
Okay.
that's,
Sorry, I did all this work on them.
The only little thing I have is I'm working with Pixelated Tech, finally getting us switched over to the .gov emails.
Okay. Yes. That would be good.
With all of them coming in with our updating our security and our cyber and everything, us being on the Verizon.net email that we currently have, loonwatt at Verizon.net, needs to be updated. So we got approved as a government entity. He's working on it. He's actually coming tomorrow to start implementing the emails, and so we will keep word out to the residents as we transition. We're not
You
going
know-
to get rid of the ones that we have now until everything kind of.
is this gonna allow us to break it down to where we have, cause I mean, I know I use my personal email all the time.
So that was,
This.
I guess, a
Is it-
question. So he wanted everybody to have one, so he wants each employee here to have one.
Mhm.
I can check to have one for each of you as well, but I'll have to see what that is, because we pay
Per email.
per, because he's including the Microsoft 365 with all of this. Like, we've got per user implemented on the computer, like mine, Christy at lunenburgwater.gov. That package is with my 365 and everything like that. So let me find out about.
That's where
Once
you
we-
put all the documents would be in the 365, correct? So you use
Yes,
it like a
yes,
Google Doc type
yes,
thing?
yeah,
So just for
just an
just
email
for
type.
commission
Yep.
for commissioners purposes.
Yeah.
I know the selectmen, they all have their accounts that they have all of the public the government documents
Yep.
for the town in.
But then you guys have your
Then we don't.
yeah.
So again, I'm using my personal email, my
Yep.
personal Google Doc account for stuff that I want to store and or keep.
Okay.
Where check with Pixelated and see.
Yeah.
But just
I think it'd be good if these guys could.
Yeah.
from a standpoint
he's coming
of,
tomorrow morning,
of
so-
keeping our personal
Absolutely.
Yep,
and,
yep, I
and,
agree.
Water district business separate.
Yep.
Um,
All right, I'll talk to them tomorrow. They're going to be here around 10 to start getting some of our computers updated. So I'll-
You'll have to, if John gets an email though, you're gonna have to have it forwarded to your account so you can tell John he got an email.
Don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Just print it out.
yeah, you get the printouts.
No, the commissioner's
Okay.
report. I'm sorry. We should actually go into this because I thought it was well written. The fact that it has touched on everything's from our projects to our staff to PFAS to the tanks. It's a very well laid out what has happened over the year and everything we're doing to, you know, maintain the job that we do. It is actually quite a bit of work. Good job, Fran.
That's it.
That's
all
it.
I got.
Public
Right.
comment?
Now, yeah, now, John.
No, now it's your turn.
Oh, you already tried.
Yeah.
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that.
Is that all right, Woody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Attaboy,
fantastic.
attaboy.